Frequently asked questions. How do you know when it's time to pick the grapes? Well, you can't pick the grapes just because they're purple, because purple doesn't mean they're ripe. It's just the first sign. So we actually eat a lot of grapes. We have to look at the three parts of the grape. A grape has pulp in the center, which surrounds the seeds. It has the skin, which is where most of the flavors live, and then the seeds itself. And particularly in the case of something like Cabernet Sauvignon here, we need to know about all three parts, because all three parts go into the fermenter. So as we're walking down the road picking samples, we're also popping a lot of grapes into our mouth. We slip off the skin, park it over here. We find the seeds, park them over here. That leaves the pulp. Not a lot to pulp. It's basically sweet and sour. At this point, this Cabernet is a long ways away from fully ripe. It's still pretty much sour grapes. We start to chew the skin. It takes more than 30 seconds to chew a skin. In the first 5-10 seconds, all you're getting is the residual pulp. All you're getting is sweet and sour. But as you grind that skin between your molars, more flavors start to come out. And they're not the flavors of wine, because during the fermentation, those flavors get changed. That's the magic of wine. But the thing we're really looking at here is not just the flavors, but how bitter and astringent. Bitterness, astringency is always part of a skin. At this point, it's pretty rough. And that would translate into the wine, because everything that's in the skin ends up in the wine. After we got a good feel for the skin, then we crunch up the seeds. In this case, because it's not very ripe, I don't want to keep it in my mouth very long. That would give us the bitter wine face also, because all those flavors end up in the wine in the case of a red wine, because everything gets fermented together. In the case of white wine, we often just squeeze the juice out and go from there, and some people say seed ripeness isn't important. I maintain it is, because if the seeds aren't mild and crunchy, the grape isn't really ripe. So I look at seed ripeness in a lot of things. Here in Washington State, we largely don't pay attention to that, because by the time the grapes get the sugar and acidity levels we're looking for, the seeds have become very mild. That's one of the reasons we make great wine here in Washington State.